Hey everybody, this is Lynn Stokes with College Planning of Texas. I wanted to make this video of my workshop presentation available to all of you guys who RSVP'd, but for some reason you could not make the actual live event. So I'm going to make it easy on you. You can watch this recording. It's a somewhat abbreviated version because I know time is important. And I wanted to make this something that you could do in, say, 30 to 45 minutes and get all the information. Also included in this is a lot of information about the new changes to financial aid, the FAFSA form. These are all going into effect for students that are going to be attending college in fall of 2024. So this is the year when they need to be taken into consideration when you're applying for financial aid. The FAFSA form is going to be opening in December. It's what we heard. And a lot of the changes are known now, so we can kind of cover those a little bit. So my company helps families and students not only get into college, find the best college, but save a lot of money on college through mastering the financial aid process. Now, it's very affordable to bring us on as your team, and we can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, in this process. So a little bit about myself. I've been in financial services for 24 years. I've been a financial planner for 15 years, and that leads me into college planning. And college planning is a subset of comprehensive financial planning. So we do a lot of retirement planning and tax planning and all types of financial advising. We're an advisory firm, and we can help you with any of these issues. But college planning is a big part of it because every family only has a certain number of dollars to work with, and anything that goes to college is going to decrease what's available for retirement. And we need to look at this holistically to make sure that everything is working together in all areas. So that's what we try to do with our families. Now, what we're going to cover today, like I said, the changes in the FAFSA form, but also here's some other things. We're going to tell you how to find the best fit school and get accepted, pay less for college so you can save more for retirement and enjoy the next few years without worry. The formula for planning for school so you can pay the least amount, and how to avoid the biggest mistakes that other families make, myself included. I've made these mistakes years ago when I put my kids through college, so I've learned the hard way, and the changes to the FAFSA form. So why go to college? Excuse me. Why go to college? Well, you want to get a good job. You want better opportunities. Knowledge is power. Status, accomplishments to be well-rounded. Build the right connections. I heard someone say once that you can go to college and not learn anything, but if you make the right connections, it's going to be well worth it. And we know that that's a very critical aspect to going to college. Obtain a skill set, surround yourself with like-minded people, and make more money in life. Now, we know statistically that if you have a college degree, you're going to make about $1 million more in your working life than someone without a college degree. So the first thing to remember is college is a business. They want the most from you, and you want to pay the least. And Harvard, for example, has $53 billion endowment. Now, college is a very unique purchase that you make. And when you think of all the major capital purchases that you can make in your life, a house or cars or weddings or whatever it might be, it's the only one where before you know the price, you have to divulge your financial status, your income, your assets, and then they'll tell you what the final price is. So keep that in mind. So in college, there are 3 pillars: getting accepted, financial aid, and funding the cost. Now, getting accepted is about student positioning your student properly so that the college will want your student to come to their school. Financial aid is not just federal aid. We're not talking just Pell Grants and work study and loans and so forth. We're talking about the money that the schools have, grants, scholarships, tuition discounts. 80% of all the financial aids comes directly from the school. So the school has their sticker price, and then they can discount that price through grants, scholarships, and discounts if they want your student, and if you can show them a reason to do that. And then funding the cost is detailed planning. It's not that hard to accomplish. I help families do that all the time. The sooner you start, the better. I have junior high school kids and their families come into my office all the time, and we get them started on the right path. So let's talk about getting accepted to college. Here's the challenges to each family. You may not know what the process is. It's confusing. You don't have time to coach your child. The high school counseling system is overworked. You don't have time to study and learn. The process has changed over the years, and it keeps changing. Acceptance rates are low and competitive for the dream college. And you want to know how to get more free money and use less of your money. So why is getting accepted and receiving financial aid more challenging now than ever before? One reason is the post-COVID demand. Now, during COVID, we had a lot of students sit out. They wanted the on-campus experience. They didn't want to go to college via Zoom or video conference, so they waited. They're all back in the system now. Some of them are freshmen, sophomores, juniors. Puts a higher demand on the colleges. They have less incentive to help people get in or give out financial aid because the demand is so high. So that's one reason why it's difficult. So what we do is help the family with their student, evaluate the interest, skills, personalities of the student. And these can change between high school and college, but we get a general idea. And then we help them find a career path based on that data. Now, on a career path, you need to know the education requirements, the earnings potential, the job duties, working conditions, projected growth. You don't want to get into an industry that's going to be obsolete in 5 years. So these are all considerations. And then the college selection, you need to know the regions of the country and states for that particular career. Do you need public or private colleges? And finally, create a list of colleges for the student. Now, how many colleges should you apply for? I've heard a lot of people say as many as possible because it's so hard to get in. We disagree. You should select 6 to 8 schools, get them in competition with each other and fighting for your student to go to their school. You'll have a better chance of not only getting accepted, but getting more financial aid. Now, the secrets that colleges do not want you to know, they have a system. It's a built-in system. It's called Strategic Enrollment Management. And this is where they have a system that is designed to select the optimal students for their college so their college rankings can go up. They can charge more for tuition. So on the larger schools, some of this is done by computer now. Your application will go in and it's sorted by algorithms. A lot of the schools still do it one at a time by hand. But if you know how they work this system, you'll know how better to position your student to get accepted. Now, what affects getting accepted? Well, admissions has changed. What are they looking for? Well, you've got your academic metrics. This is obvious. Your grades, your GPA, is it weighted or unweighted? The SAT, the ACT scores. And we'll talk about test optional here in a minute. The class rank. Extracurricular activities are important. The uniqueness of the student. Essays, student interests, special skills, passions. These are all important to document. Letters of recommendation, diversity, leadership, college interviews, and consistencies. So test optional. What is test optional? Well, during COVID, They didn't think it was a good idea to get a bunch of students in a room for the SAT exam. So they decided until this blew over, they were going to make the tests optional. You could apply just based on your grades and other criteria, not have to take the tests. Well, that leads to a question. For admissions, will a high test score help you with financial aid? Yes, it will. Are high test scores required to get financial aid? No. But look at it this way. If you have one student that's submitting without a test score, another one is submitting with a test score, a high test score, they both have the same grades and resume, but one of them has a high test score. Well, they're going to qualify for the merit-based aid more than someone without the testing. So if you test well, if you can get good test scores, you definitely need to take the SAT or ACT and include that with your application. If you don't test well or have low scores, you may consider test optional, but your chances of getting aid are reduced somewhat. So how many applications to college include the SAT? Well, back in 2019, 78% included test scores. That dropped when COVID hit, and we're still right at about a little bit below 50% that include the SAT or ACT score. So what that means, if you can get a high test score, you put yourself in front of people that did not include those test scores. Now, when we say best fit school, our job as college planners is to help your family pick the best fit school socially, academically, and financially. Because the idea is not just to get accepted, it's to finish, to graduate, to get a degree, and have a job waiting for you at the end of the line. In other words, a marketable degree. Now, if you get in the wrong school, you run the risk of not finishing. And that could be for social reasons. It could be academically. You can't handle the workload. Could be financially. You run out of money. So we want you to finish and graduate. But if you look at the graduation rates, it's pretty low, in my opinion. So 62% last year. And it's even lower for males than females. So keep that in mind. So let's talk about financial aid for a minute. So this is how to maximize free money. And we're not talking about just federal and state aid. We're talking about money from the college itself. And we're talking scholarships, grants, and discounts. So most of these colleges have programs to help the students and family, but you need to know which ones have money to give out, how much they're going to give out, and so forth. And you should know that before you apply. So we'll talk about the forms and deadlines here for a minute. So the deadline for the FAFSA used to be October. They pushed it back. The opening date used to be October. They pushed it back to December. The deadline is still June 30th, but you want to do this long before the deadline. So this time of year with our families, we've already gotten all their financial data in order. We've verified it all. We're ready to drop that application the minute it opens, because it's first come, first serve, and you need to be ready for that. So that's in December. We don't have a finite date. That's the Department of Education, but it is coming right around the corner. They've changed the FAFSA. I'm going to go over some of the changes. There's 108 questions is now down to 36 questions. Last year was a high error rate. The CSS profile is another application that a lot of private schools use. They have different criteria on those applications. You probably want to look at that, maybe complete that one. And then there's the paperwork for SAT, ACT, the applications, and the actual test itself and essays. So let's talk about the changes to the FAFSA form. Now, this information is really very recent. I've had to put slides together for this information. I'll go through these one at a time. Child support is considered an asset not reported as income. So that's a big change, because as an asset, it will hurt you less on the granting of financial aid than if it was income. So that, let's say you're getting $1,000 a month in child support, that $12,000 a year now comes off your income, and that can help you get more financial aid. The family size determined listed on your tax return is what they're going to use. It used to be on the FAFSA form, and you could put that on there and you would get more financial aid if you had more family size. So they're going to do that on the IRS tax return. They're going by the number of dependents listed on the tax return. Now, the number of students in college is no longer part of the calculation, but the FAFSA will still ask that question, okay? And the reason they ask that is that colleges want to know, even though it's not going to change your qualification for financial aid, they want to know that. Divorced parents, it used to be that the child that lived with the parent 51% of the time, that was the income that they would use to calculate financial aid. They've changed that. It doesn't matter who the child lives with, it's who provides the most financial support. So if the child lives with the mom, but the dad provides more financial support, we use the dad's income on the FAFSA. If not, we go ahead and use the mom's income if she's supporting the child 51% of the time. Now, what if it's even? If it's even, that's a great planning opportunity, because you pick the parent that has the lowest income and you make sure that they contribute a little bit more to the financial support, and then you'll be able to use that lower income and qualify for more financial aid. So it used to be on the federal student aid ID that only the student needed to attain an FSA ID. Now both the student and at least one parent need to apply for an FSA ID. It's better just get both parents to apply for it, then you'll have those ID numbers to use on the form. Now, the Department of Education will receive information directly from the IRS. This is new. It can save time, but it also means that when you fill out the form, you need to be correct. We do data verification. We do not put numbers on forms that aren't verified by the tax return. We want it to be correct, because if something is incorrect, it's going to kick that form out, and then you have a delay in getting financial aid. They've also increased the number of schools that you can put on the FAFSA up to 20. This is not recommended, like we talked earlier. If you have 20 schools on your FAFSA form and your college of choice sees they're listed, but there's all these other schools listed, they may not think that you're that serious or focused on their school. You want to narrow it down to where they can see that you've got a shorter list and you're more serious about their college. And finally, if you own a business or a farm, the value of the family farm or small business will no longer be excluded. They have to include that. You need the net worth value of the business minus any debt. So this gets very detailed and kind of complicated, to be honest with you. I can't imagine a family navigating all of this on their own. They better have some help. That's what we do. We can help you with all this and make sure it's done correctly. So here's some common mistakes to avoid: not completing the FAFSA form at all. Now, there's two reasons why people don't complete the FAFSA. One is they think, well, I'll never qualify for aid. Big mistake. Colleges use that to grant merit scholarships, institutional aid. Everyone should fill the FAFSA. The number two reason is they don't finish it. They start, it gets complicated, and they can't finish it. That's another mistake. Filing the FAFSA form late not getting the FSA ID before filing, not using your FSA ID, inputting incorrect information. If you list your home equity as an asset, that's a mistake. You do not need to list your home equity. So if you put that on there, it's going to hurt you. Not reporting required information, that'll kick the app out. Listing only one college, or not signing the FAFSA form. Believe it or not, that happens. So we now see last year about a 90% error rate. And this is of the people that actually completed it. So you can imagine what it's like. You know, people don't even complete it, and then you have a 90% error rate. So you need to get this right. We can help with that. Now, it's expensive. I don't care where you go, it's going to be expensive. It's not just tuition, books, room and board, living expenses. 4 years can cost $80,000 to $250,000 or more. You multiply that times the number of kids that you have, and it keeps going up quite a bit every year. So we need to plan ahead. Now, these 3 letters you will learn. It's called the cost of attendance. This is for everything. This is for your tuition, fees, room and board, books, transportation, expenses, your allowance, everything. So looking at a private college, if the private college tuition is $36,000, you got another $11,000 for room and board, and then all these other expenses in there. Now your COA is $55,000. Most schools will publish their cost of attendance. You can look them up and you get a better idea what it costs to go to that school. So it just keeps going up. So there's categories of free money that we want to highlight here. So merit aid is the higher the test and score and grades, the more money you get. So that's your report card, your testing, and so forth. There's needs-based, which is your income and assets. That's where the student aid index comes in. And institutional aid is from the college itself. And that's when they want your student and they're willing to lower the price for your student. Now there's 3 magic letters. SAI, we mentioned, student aid index. This is what the government thinks you can afford for college per year. Okay. And the top 6 factors are the parent's income, the parent's assets, the student's income and assets, number of people in the household, and it used to be number of students attending college. That's changing, but all these go into the calculation of your student aid index. Now, there's many different ways of reducing your student aid index. It's similar to tax planning. Let me just say this: the FAFSA opens in December. If you are sitting on funds in a savings account, particularly if they're in the student's name, you need to talk to me ASAP about repositioning that. I just had a family come in. They had $40,000 in the student's name. We repositioned those assets, and it gave them an extra $8,000 in financial aid every year. That's $32,000 back in their pocket because they learned how this works and they let us help them. So the SAI is the same for every college. It's the number that the government applies to you when you fill out the FAFSA form. You must fill it out every year. Financial aid is an annual event. Now the score, especially this year, is not going to be given till halfway through senior year, because you have to turn in the FAFSA. They have to get back with you on that. That is problematic because if you're a senior right now, you're probably already looking at colleges. What's the first thing you look at when you look at a college? If you're the parents, you probably look at the price, right? Well, how do you know what the out-of-pocket price is going to be if you don't know how much aid you're going to get? It's very problematic. So we can calculate your student aid index right now, right today. You get a hold of us, we'll let you know what that is. You don't have to wait for the government. Now, it'll be an estimate because we're working with the numbers you give us, but it will be pretty close if your numbers are accurate. Remember, child support is considered an asset, not income. Your retirement accounts, IRA, 401k are not reported as assets. So that's helping you. And school policies can differ. If they don't use the FAFSA, particularly for merit aid and institutional aid, they can ask any questions they want. Private schools tend to do this, but that's up to the school. So how do they determine if I'm eligible for financial aid? This is the formula. Cost of attendance minus the SAI, Student Aid Index, equals your need. Your need is how much aid you qualify for. So COA's cost of attendance, that's everything, tuition, books, room and board. SIA is your family's contribution each year. Again, that's based on the income and assets. And your need is how much aid the family is eligible for. Okay, make sure you understand that. Example, if you have a cost of attendance of $20,000 a year, and the government says your student aid index is 16,000, that means you qualify for 4,000 in aid each year. Now here's a case study. We talked about divorced parents, right? So this is Robert, his parents are divorced. He wants to study pre-law. He's got an SAT of 1250. He looked at 11 colleges around the country. The family income of the mom is $55,000 a year. He's got $23,500 in his name in an account, 5 family members, 1 in college. Well, they didn't plan. They didn't, they included the father's income, which was a mistake. They did move some assets around. They left money in the child's name. And what happened is the initial SAI was $16,000 a year. So the government is saying, you have to pay $16,000 a year before you get any help. We changed that. We corrected the forms. We moved some money around. We got that number down to 4,000, and they actually received 42,000 over 4 years in financial aid. So this is how we can help you save money on college. Now, there's 2 types of institutional aid. There's gift aid, that's free money, that's scholarship and grants, and self-help. It's not free money, it's work study and student loans. So work study is where you're putting your hours in exchange for aid, and loans are money that you have to pay back, okay? So here are 3 questions to ask every college. You should write these questions down. You want us to ask them, what percentage of the need do you meet? So different schools meet different percentage of the need. For example, Baylor, I believe they meet 69% of the need. There are schools that meet almost 100% of the need. Some of the private schools, if they're really wanting to help out needs-based students. The next question is what percentage of need will be gift aid and what will be self-help? And the third question is how long does it take to graduate? Now, why do you want to know that? Because the longer it takes to graduate, the more expensive it is. And the average for a public school is actually 5 to 6 years. My son, it took him over 5.5 years to graduate from Texas State. Now, they're not going to put that on their website. They're not going to advertise that you can't get out in 4 years. It's very difficult to get out in 4 years, especially the way they schedule the classes. But you need to know that if you're in a public school and it takes 5 or 6 years, and you look at a private school where you can get out in 4 years, you can actually go to a private school cheaper than a public school in certain cases. Then you have community colleges. So the number one way to get more money after you've received awards letters is to ask the college for more aid. And we're not talking about auto haggle. If they send you to a website to fill out a form, that's probably going to be ignored. So we're going to coach you how to do this. It's called the appeals process. You want to squeeze every last dollar out of the university. You negotiate the appeal. You appeal your award with the school when it's appropriate. This is a phone call speaking directly with the financial aid department. You have to have a reasonable reason to give them why you think they should give you more aid. and you have to be polite, logical, calm, and use good demeanor when speaking to them. And we can coach you how to do that. So here's some myths versus reality. Private schools are more expensive than state schools. That's true, but private schools typically have more money to give. So you can actually go to a private school for less than a state school. When I say a state school, what am I talking about? UT, Texas A&M, Texas State. These colleges have very little money to give out. They don't need to. The demand is so high for these schools that they don't need to give out money to get you to come into their school. And they have more than enough students applying. The ability to get accepted is more and more difficult for those types of schools. My income is too high, I won't qualify. You can reposition assets and you may get institutional aid. I'll give you an example. If they look at your balance sheet, they say this family's got a lot of money. They may make an exception because they look into the future and they say, you know what, they'll be spending more on campus. They may become alumni members. They may become donors to the school. In the long run, it will help our college to get that family into our program, and it may be worth giving them a tuition discount. So that's another example. My grades are too low. Well, you have needs-based and you have institutional money. Now, what's the absolute best scenario? The best scenario would be to qualify for a lot of needs-based aid with low income and assets, and also have stellar academic metrics, top of the class, straight A's, high test scores, low income. If that's your situation, there's all kinds of schools that'll basically give you a full ride if you're in that category. I own a home with equity. Again, this is a myth. That's not included on the FAFSA form. It's an easy process via our high school. It's not, the counselors are overworked. They don't have the time, especially with the changes in the FAFSA form. They're going to be overloaded navigating those changes. So it's going to be tough this year. So what's the true cost of making a mistake? If you miss out on $6,000 a year in financial aid, multiply that times 5 years, that's $30,000 in excess expenses. And what did that cost you? Okay, if left in an investment account earning 6%, between now and when you retire, that's a $128,000 mistake by not doing it properly. So let's talk about funding. Funding the cost only with an accurate projection of the true out-of-pocket costs can you accurately assess your ability to pay, the impact that will have on your other financial goals, and what the best approach is for you. And you can't project the true out-of-pocket costs until you know what kind of aid you qualify for. Here's a typical approach, and I do not recommend this approach. This is backwards, but a lot of families, the freshman year, they'll just pay the costs with their current savings or perhaps their income. They'll pay cash, and then once those are exhausted, they'll ask for loan applications. Then they'll go get a second job to add income. Finally, they'll fill out financial aid forms when they've run out of all the other options. So this is backwards. Don't do it like this. Talk to us. We'll show you how to do it properly. So here's a list of the cost of attendance for colleges. We've got a lot of these Texas colleges here. You can see what the cost is. This is not 100% up to date because they keep going up. You also have 20K schools. And of course, we help students go to college all across the country. I just put the Texas schools on here because y'all are familiar with those. So let's talk about loans for a minute. The best loans that you can get are the federal loans. They have subsidized and unsubsidized. The difference is the subsidized loans do not accrue interest until after you graduate. The unsubsidized do accrue interest, and these are the amounts that you can qualify There's no credit application or anything like that. If you're in school, accepted to a college, you can qualify for these loans. The interest rate is pretty good. If you look at private loans, you're looking at 7 to 8% interest rate. Right now, federal loans are 4.99. So this is the first option for loans. We do loan counseling. The loan subject is, I could take an hour to talk about loans, but if you need loan counseling, you need to call us. We'll help you out with that. So we have a unique strategy. We can show you how to fund the entire cost of college without ruining your retirement or other financial goals. Now, think about this. What if you could pay off all your college loans before the first payment is due, or fund the entire cost without using any third-party loans, or get 100% refund on all of your out-of-pocket expenses? I can show you strategies to make this happen, okay? Imagine this. If you paid if a bank paid you 7% on your savings, and then they would loan you money at 5%, would you use your cash, your savings, to pay for college, or would you borrow money from the bank at 5%? I'll let you think about that. Call me if you need the answer. So 7 mistakes that can cost you thousands: spending little time on college planning, leaving all the process in the hands of the school counselors, starting too late in the process, procrastinating, submitting aid forms late or with mistakes, getting incorrect information online or non-credible sources, or not seeking help from reliable sources, counselors, certified college planners, etc. That's what we do. 5 other tips: start early, use professionals, determine which college the student wants to go to, complete the forms, the applications, FAFSA, CSS profile correctly and on time. Work with our college admissions counselors. This is important. So you have options here. You can be in denial. You can put your head in the sand. You can do it yourself. It used to be a lot easier. It's more complicated now. Or you can use professionals, use experts. You may save a few dollars by doing it yourself, but it's going to cost you much, much more because you will lose out on a lot of aid if you make mistakes along the way. So who has Googled how to pay for college? If you type that in your browser, you're going to get 3,410,000,000 results in less than a minute. So it's a lot of research that you have to do. So we can help. We have college planning services. We guide the student on finding the right college and ensuring that they get accepted. And the right college is the one where they know they'll be able to finish and have a job waiting. Get parents free money for college regardless of income or assets, pay for college wholesale, and show parents how to fund the out-of-pocket costs without using all of your savings or sacrificing your current lifestyle or going broke. So we have counselors that work with our families, 20 years experience. These are ex-admissions officers and financial aid counselors. They visit the colleges, they network with admissions officers, they're on the inside of the process, and they know what each school prioritizes. So they'll look at your situation, they'll know which schools are going to be the best fit for you. These are the steps we go through. This is just to make sure everything gets done. You don't need to memorize this. It's very intricate and elaborate. Now, here's our statistical breakdown. Public schools, last year we averaged $34,000 in savings per family. Private schools, over 100,000 in savings per family. So the average savings is $71,000 per family. That's over 4 years. This is a year-by-year breakdown, average 4-year savings for the students that work with us. Last year, $71,000 average. So who do we work with? We work with friendly families, student and parents who are motivated to attend college, students and parents who are serious about a college degree and career placement, students and parents who want real expert advice from former admissions and financial aid officers, parents who are serious about their money and retirement, and parents and students who do not want to procrastinate about the entire process. So you get a dedicated financial aid counselor, a dedicated student positioning counselor, a dedicated college funding planner. And we're going to create a plan of action for you. We're going to coach and guide you. We're going to save you time, stress, and money. We estimate that it will save a family about 200 hours of their own time by letting us help you. And then we're going to create a plan to pay for it. And this is not only going to help you pay for college, but it's going to protect your retirement planning as well. They go hand in hand. And I'll tell you this, even if you feel like you've got the college planning under your belt, if you need help with the retirement part, we can help with that. That's what we do very well. So this is my office. It's at I-10 in Wurzbach. The reason I put this up here is people get lost sometimes. We're right across from HEB on Wurzbach. If you Google our address, it will sometimes take you to the wrong location. I'm just warning you. So look for that big 10-story red building at I-10 in Wurzbach. We're on the 8th floor. So what is the next step? Our college planning discovery meeting, we're going to meet with you for an hour, and we're going to calculate your expected family contribution, your SAI, additional strategies on college acceptance, financial aid, funding, go over our services that can continue to help your family. Both parents and students are recommended to attend. If you have a 2-parent family, try to have both parents attend. That's not always possible. And if you come within 2 weeks, we're going to charge $97, and that will help you get that price. I mention the chamber there. We work with the Chamber of Commerce. So there's limited spots available. Let me say this. If you can't afford the $97, please call me. I want to help you. We'll work something out. Okay. So here is my thank you to you guys. And here is my contact information. And if you reply to the email that you received this video in, you're going to get my calendar. You'll be able to get on my calendar and book a time. The way we book appointments is you book your own time. We have a QR code or a link. You go to my calendar, you book your time. It's an hour. We're going to help you get situated on college planning, get situated on your retirement, and help you with the new changes of the FAFSA form and so forth. So we've got some openings between now and the end of the year. Time is running out. I hope you'll, if you made it this far in the video, I hope you'll take the opportunity to book an appointment with me, and we'll get you squared away. I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions at all, email me, call me, and we will work it out. Thanks again. Take care.